all, realistically, it's very difficult to do more than 15 interviews in a season. So you're probably looking at from the weeks of the first or probably the second week of November through early January, trying to pack in as many interviews as possible. And hopefully, you know, if you get to a point of 10 to 12 completed interviews, that's probably enough for the average candidate, if those are well-chosen interview options, to be successful in the match. Now, my opinion is it really makes no difference when you schedule a particular interview. So I think there's common lore that either your early interviews should be at those programs that you are most interested in and leave the others to later in your schedule. Or I've also heard the exact opposite, to schedule the programs that you are most interested in later in the schedule so you're fresh in the mind of the residency administration. And to be honest with you, we do a lot of interviews throughout the year, but we have pretty good recollection, and so I really don't think it matters at all as to when you schedule your interview. You will want to be strategic because geographically you want to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to accommodate that number of interviews in your schedule. So in other words, if you're going to a major metropolitan area, for instance here in Detroit, there's several programs and it would strategically be to your advantage to schedule all of those within the same block of time. Now, what do you do if you have a program that is one of your top choices and you haven't gotten an interview offer? It is permissible and even advisable in certain situations to email that program director. There are specific reasons for which you may not have received an interview, but if you have a particular interest in that program, maybe the program's in your hometown, maybe for other reasons, family reasons, you want to be in a particular area, those issues that the applicants deal with sometimes will resonate with the program directors, and there may be open slots in the interview schedule. The other thing is that until you have actually received a denial, you're probably still in the running for getting an interview at any particular program, because all of us deal with a fair number of cancellations, not necessarily last-minute cancellations, but cancellations, and that is an opportunity if you are still awaiting an offer from any particular program. It certainly is in your best interest to learn as much as possible about any and all programs before your interview. This will not only help you ultimately make your decision when it comes down to making your rank order list, but it will make you look better on your interview date. For instance, you know, when applicants show up for our interview days and I'm talking to them in my office and they really have a very good idea of what this program is, what our patient population is, and what our real strengths are and what makes us unique, that impresses me. Now, how do you get that information? There's many different sources. You can certainly search the web, everything from FRIDA to EMRA's site to the Society's site with the residency catalog, and those are good places to go. But also, I think you'll find most residencies have a website and or other sources of information that you can tap into. One other very important source, though, is or are your colleagues who may have interviewed with a particular program before you, or individuals that you know are already in residencies who may have interviewed at some of these programs. And then finally, most programs will give you the opportunity to meet the residents the night before, sometimes even the night after the interview in a more social environment for dinner or something like that. And that's also a very good opportunity to get information about the program. One thing that you want to keep in mind, though, is that anytime you are interfacing with either a resident or a faculty member or even a staff person from any particular program, you are interviewing at that time. You always want to have right at the front of your mind kind of what I call a 2-minute drill, is that really kind of give me your life story, a synopsis of, in 2 minutes. And a lot of us use that to open an interaction. And the expectation is that we are getting a comprehensive but fairly succinct picture of who you are. Another word of advice is that you will have many opportunities to ask questions during this day. And it really shows, if you have questions and intelligent questions and have shown some deliberate thought about this, it really shows your level of interest in that program, and quite honestly, your level of interest in the specialty overall. So I would really encourage you to have questions at your disposal. And you can always ask, and oftentimes it's a very effective technique to ask the same question of multiple faculty members. This is not perceived as, trying to trick faculty and, compare one versus the other, but you'll get different opinions. We've got, nearly 90 faculty in our program here at Beaumont, and I always encourage applicants to, ask me the same questions or ask my colleagues the same questions that they've asked me. I don't keep track of whether applicants send me a thank you letter or email or otherwise. I can't speak for all program directors, but I would imagine that most perceive this as I do, that it's certainly a nice gesture. However, it's not obligatory, and certainly in this day and age, email works just as well as the U.S. Postal Service. Now, in terms of communication, if you have questions regarding a particular program, by all means, you want to feel very comfortable asking those of the faculty with whom you've interviewed.